Hey guys, welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers, and today I am really sorry for the technical glitch I had on my side. I really messed up, but at the end of the day, it's working now and everything is fine. And I am here with you to see another launch, and this time it's from Arianespace, and that too of this rocket in front of you, the Ariane 5, which is a big boy for Arianespace. And this one will be carrying ISRO's, apparently ISRO's GSAT-24. I won't say ISRO's, but I'll tell you how it is related to that. And Airbus's MEASAT 3D. And we will be seeing all about the mission and everything, but I guess I'm already late, so I won't take much of your time and discuss everything really very quickly. And welcome to the stream, Yehuda, Joseph, Andrew, soon Anil, and Mars 2028. Namaste to you too. And just pardon me, guys, for the delay, but here we are. Everything is sorted now. So let's talk about this rocket itself. So this rocket, as you can see, has the boosters as well as the main stage. So this booster is nothing but a SRB booster and has HTPB as its fuel. Each booster provides around 7,000 kilonewtons of thrust for 130 seconds. So this is how it looks like, you know. This is the rocket how it looks like, and apparently yes, provides much of the thrust here. And then we have the main stage. So this main stage has this Vulcan engine, which you can see in front of you. I hope you can. Yep. This is the Vulcan engine. This is the main cryogenic engine, which it has a Vulcan 2 engine to be precise. It produces around 1,400 kilonewtons of thrust, and it runs on liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen as its fuel. And it's a hydrolox engine, so it burns for a very long time, around 540 seconds, which is around almost 9 minutes. Yes, almost, it's actually 9 minutes. So 9 minutes for this first stage only burning. And then we have the second stage, which you can see hopefully now. So this is the second stage we have. This second stage, even though it looks really very small, but it's highly efficient of Oh, so my mic failed. Wow. So you did not um wow. Wow. Let me just do it once again. So what was I doing? Yeah. So this is what I was doing. So apparently I said this we had this two boosters, one Vulcan engine. I hope everyone is can hear me now. Yep, sorry for that. Mics is messed up now. I need to clearly buy a new one. So this the boosters are this one. The SRP, the first stage is burns for around 9 minutes. Yes, it's a long burning stage. Has liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen as its fuel. And Vulcan 2 engine is the main power drive for this mission. And this one is although it looks really very small, but it has a huge ISP of around 446 seconds and produces 67 kilonewtons of thrust. It is also a hydrolox engine, and it burns for around 15 minutes. This is the Silda which I was talking about. So this Silda is responsible for housing, it enables to house two satellites together. So that's what I said. Now this is the MEASAT 3D, which is basically a communication satellite providing broadband services in Malaysia, and it will be placed in a polar geostationary orbit. So that's nice, providing 4K and 8K video and high definition services. The next one is this one, the GSAT-24, and this one is from India, ISRO's. Yes, and you must be wondering, ISRO has its own capability to launch satellites. Yeah, it has, but sometimes economy is a something which plays in their mind. Like it's better to have a customer as a customer to Arianespace to launch this satellite rather than to being launching it from its own rockets. Like economies and availability of the rockets just plays out. So yeah, that's why it is launching. And this will not be launching in from ISRO. This is basically from a property of NSIL, which is a New Space India Limited, which basically handles you can say private contracts for you know um, agencies in India. So this one is a contract signed in for Tata Sky, which is a dish service for India, and this satellite will be used in streaming TV services. So all those Tata Skies, I hope you can relate to that. In UK we have Sky Global, Sky News. Yeah, that's the brand of it. So Tata Sky is there. So it will be leased out to them, not leased out. So they have made it for them. So yeah, you can say that. And yeah, and pretty much about it. Talking about the mission profile, you can see it will be going to geostationary transfer orbit, perigee of just 250 km, but apogee is 35,786. Inclination is equatorial, and yes, MEASAT has to do its burn to change the plane of the orbit. And yes, that is pretty much about it. So the mission sequence profile is pretty regular: liftoff, booster separation, fairing jettison, the the first stage separation, the second stage separation, second stage startup, ignition cutoff. And yes, talking about the second stage, it is a non-restartable engine, so therefore it has to go to geosynchronous transfer orbit in just one burn. Does not have any capability to restart. And same happened with the JWST also. So it is a capable upper stage, but it does not have a restarting capability. And then the Silda, first the MEASAT will separate, then the Silda will separate, and then the GSAT-24 will separate. Whoa, okay, that was some. Let me just switch over to the live stream. I guess we have. Yep.
You who've just joined us, welcome to Road to Space. In less than 25 minutes, Ariane 5 will launch its 231st and 232nd satellite.
Well done. David, you are head of Advanced Studies Department at Arianespace. To understand
Okay, so they are back with this coverage now. They improved it previously, but now they are back with this studio coverage. So I guess we need to work with this one. So we are at T minus 23 minutes from the launch. I guess I am adding the actual timer.
And you will comment on all the flight, all the trip we will have tonight. Yes, those are the images.
So yes, Ariane 5 will lift off from Kourou in the eastern coast of South America. At 8:0, the Vulcan engine of the main stage will ignite, and once we have checked that the engine is working fine, the solid propellant boosters will be ignited and will lift off at 7 seconds afterwards. The launcher will climb and then perform a gravity turn, progressively tilting the trajectory towards the east. After 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the boosters will be separated, having finished their job. Around 1 minute later, the fairing will be jettisoned once the launcher has reached a high enough altitude so that the fairing is no longer needed. And you see on the world map the towers and the little dots. These are the tracking stations that will follow the launcher along its trajectory. At 8 minutes and 40 seconds, the main stage will have finished its job, and the engine will shut down, and we separate from the upper stage. A few seconds later, the upper stage engine will ignite, the HM7V. It will burn for more than 15 minutes, shutting down once the targeted orbit is reached at 25 minutes and 36 seconds. After that,
There is no restart.
So start a series of maneuvers to give MEASAT 3D the correct orientation, and the satellite will be separated at a bit before 29 minutes. Minutes later, the SILDA, the double launch structure, will separate, and it will open the way for GSAT-24, which will separate approximately 40 minutes after launch. And after that, the launcher will begin its passivation, emptying its propellant tanks to avoid any pressure from building up, and reducing also the lifetime in orbit.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, David, for all this information. We are going to follow this flight quite closely.
So thank you so much 24/7 for that weather update.
On your screen.
There you go. That's what we would like to
So we
see.
see everything is green. Everything is green. Can you tell us a little bit about this panel, please?
Yes, this panel gives the status of all the different systems that are needed for the launch. So all the lights need to be green for the launch to happen. If anything happens, one of the lights will turn red, and then we may have to stop the countdown to solve the problem and come back to the launch. So you can see, for example, the status of the launcher, of the satellites, of the launch base, of the telemetry network, and the radars, and of course the weather. The weather is one thing we cannot control.
What's the weather like tonight?
For the time being, everything is green, so we should be able to launch.
Well, as you say, the panel is definitely green for the moment, and that's what we want to see. David, this evening's flight is Ariane's first flight of the year for Arianespace. What other interesting facts can you tell us about this particular launch?
This is not the first. This is the second one.
157th launch of the Ariane family. It will be the 113th launch.
I just don't get one thing. Why Arianespace just keep on experimenting with their live coverage? I just don't get it.
We will be delivering close to 10 tons of satellite mass into geostationary transfer orbit.
Well, so before this launch, let's have a look about those two satellites aboard the rocket. Two communication satellites that will be launched into orbit. In this first short report, we'll be looking at GSAT-24, a powerful and innovative satellite that will be providing high-quality TV, telecommunications and broadcasting services to India. Let's have a look.
Under the fairing of today's Ariane 5, GSAT-24, a telecommunications satellite weighing 4,180 kilos. This passenger, owned and operated by New Space India Limited, NSIL, was built by Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO. This Ku-band satellite will provide direct-to-home DTH services in India.
This is a communication satellite having 24 Ku-band transponders, specifically designed to service the sectors which are using DTH services. We have designed this satellite based on the very proven bus of I3K. It's a bent pipe spacecraft. We hope that with this launch of GSAT-24,
ISRO is improving their PR.
this sector, which is primarily meeting the demands of the television broadcasting services in India, will really get a big boost.
Thanks to the satellite, the company will be able to offer more high-definition channels to its customers and increase the robustness of its signal in case of atmospheric rains. It is the first demand-driven satellite launched for the government of India. Once launched into geostationary
Vibration
orbit,
testing,
the satellite
wow.
capacity on board GSAT-24 will be utilized by only one client.
NSIL got mandated to undertake satellite missions on a demand-driven model. In fact, the entire satellite capacity has been leased to Indian DTH service provider, MEASAT Data Play, for the entire life of the satellite, which is 15 years.
Launching this passenger is an important new step for India's space program.
With the successful launch of GSAT-24, NSIL would be owning and operating nearly 11 Indian communication satellites in orbit and meeting the service needs of the users in India on a commercial basis.
A new milestone in the long-time partnership linking Arianespace to India. Their story began in 1981 with the launch of Apple satellite on board the third Ariane 1 ever launched. 41 years later, GSAT-24 is now all set and ready to begin its 15-year journey to space.
So GSAT-24 will be the 25th Indian satellite launched by Arianespace. So David, it's a partnership that began a long time ago, 1981, 40 years ago.
Yes, indeed. We have a long and strong relationship with our Indian customers, and let's say on a less technical note, during all these years, we have been lucky to taste excellent Indian food with our customers in French Guiana. A few years ago, I was happy to act as launcher technical manager for the launch of GSAT-11.
So we'll talk about Indian food. It's amazing food. I like it very much too. But let's talk about the GSAT-24 that will be placed into a geostationary transfer orbit. Can you tell us, David, a little bit more about this position, please?
Yeah, so geostationary orbits are very interesting.
So, March 2028, you just, I answered this question while I was mute. So, I'll repeat it once again. So, talking about why is it launching in a Western rocket while ISRO has its own capability to launch the rockets, right? And the weight of this satellite is not so huge. I mean, it's not like, okay, so I'll correct the clock. So it's not like the weight is not like it is not capable. The Mark II GSLV Mark II is very much capable of putting it into the geosynchronous transfer orbit. So why is it so that it is looking in for Arianespace to launch the satellite? So sometimes what happens is economics of a satellite and the demand and the availability of the rocket and the urgency of the satellite for it to be being put into the orbit plays the role. So like sometimes the economics, like it is could be much more convenient and economically feasible to have to be a customer on a Ariane 5 rocket, because it's kind of like a rideshare mission. There will be two payloads, right? The MEASAT and this one, the GSAT-24. So therefore sometimes it becomes less costly. Most of the times the reason is the availability of the rockets, and in Indian ISRO is not very much not known for its launch cadence, and the reason is because of the industry partnership. I mean, the parts of the rockets which ISRO acquires are scattered all over the India. There is no as such a standard facility or central facility from where every part of the rocket could be acquired from. So there are all those private customers, and it's very difficult sometimes to acquire all those parts and assemble a rocket. So this is the reason why they are launching it from the Arianespace, and this is not the first time they are doing it. As he said, there's like 25th mission for ISRO. For for Arianespace to launch something of ISRO. So that's the reason, why they're launching it. It's 4.1 ton, I think, and GSL Mark III has a capacity of 4 ton. Do you correct me if I'm wrong? Yep, you are right about this one. And this it's not about it's 4 tons, I get it, but the thing which you have quoted is 4.1. It's almost it's 4 ton is also a rounded figure for the GSLV Mark II. it's around, it's a little bit greater than 4 tons. And when you have this like 4.1 tons to GTO, just 50 to 100 kilograms, it does not matter too much, because you might not reach that what should I say, desired perigee. You can just lower down your perigee for like it is today. The perigee for today's mission is 250 kilometer. So let's say you can lower it to 160 kilometer and increase the apogee, so that you can have that payload capacity. So the payload capacity 4 tons to geosynchronous transfer orbit is very very vague term. You need to specify like what is the orbital inclination, what's the perigee, what's the apogee, we know, but what's the perigee, and all those things. So kind of slight here and there weight here and there is kind of manageable. So it's not that GSLV Mark II is not capable of putting it. So it is very much capable, but as I said, it is all the economics and availability of the rocket and the urgency of the customer to put it inside, put it onto the orbit for it to be operational. That's is the main driving factor. And the thing which I liked very much about today's coverage is that you literally got a dedicated version of them explaining all those things related to GSAT-24. You don't get to see that from ISRO. ISRO is like very much not so good in their PR. And since the reign of Somnath sir, the chairperson, the chairman of ISRO, it's changing a bit, and we can see that change in here, and I really like that. So yeah.
Seconds after liftoff. David, this timing seems to be extremely precise.
Yes, it is. During the preparation of the mission, our teams perform very precise simulations, taking into account all the data from the launcher and the satellites, to be able to predict the exact moment when the targeted orbit will be reached, and then the time that it will take to turn MEASAT 3D in the targeted orientation in space before separation.
Nishant, you are right. Like, it's not like, GSLV Mark III is obviously not too much tested, but it's also reliable. Whatever flight it had after the development once have been successful. But the problem is that Mark III is not massively produced. There have been only very few Mark III produced and have been launched. And when you have to launch a customer like this, a commercial payload like this, Mark III is not a commercialized. One more thing is this one also, that GSLV Mark III is not commercialized, so it cannot launch commercial payloads. So this one is a commercial payload. It's for Tata Sky, the D2S service. So even though it's capable, but since it's not commercialized right now, it won't be able to launch. But yes, OneWeb will be using Mark III. So at that point of time, it will be commercialized, of course. So things might change.
But have you ever witnessed a red light?
Yes, indeed. Things can happen, and of course, since we control a lot of things, sometimes we get red lights. Then we need to do additional checks.
Can storm, for example, can it turn green into red lights?
Yes, indeed. I mean, on the weather green light, it can turn red if at the time of the launch there are thunderstorms that are too close to the launch pad, or if we have very high wind.
I was actually referring to Mark III, not Mark II, actually. My bad.
Commenting green panel. So even if
right now, guys,
green,
let's get back to this. T-9 minutes 21 seconds remaining.
The launch of the rocket, just 15 minutes. So what I suggest is we can have a look at the sum up, what we will be explaining, what we will be watching tonight, and we'll be coming back shortly to comment this launch that is just postponed, just 15 minutes. It happens. Let's have a look at tonight's menu, and we'll come back very soon.
What did he say? I just missed it.
Tonight on Road to Space, we are live from Europe's spaceport in French Guiana.
Okay, countdown is on hold. Okay, we missed something. I mean, everything was green, but the countdown was on hold. I guess their mic was not turned off, but okay. Okay, so there is a hold for some reason. I certainly missed because I was talking. So
À tous de DDO, suite à un rouge ensemble de lancement, le temps décompte sera arrêté à moins 7 minutes.
can anyone translate it, please? If there is someone here who understands French, can help us translate this. Okay, let me just see like what happened. What caused the hold? Hey, Spaceman Exact, welcome to the stream and Moonman for all time. Regular person, thank you so much. Welcome to the stream, man. Okay, so we don't have the update on their official account yet. Like there is something, but you know, this is a very weird hold because there was no red thing there because there is a hold. I have seen hold. Ariane 5 just is very much has a bad reputation for it being hold. So I have seen it hold, but I have seen it hold when that green, that board has some red thing in here. It was all green and
À tous de DDO, arrêt du décompte suite à un rouge ensemble de lancement. Que tous les moyens restent prêts pour la reprise de la chronologie à I0 moins 7 minutes en cas de retour au vert.
can anyone please who understand French here? Is there anyone? Okay, yeah, Peter Wine, welcome to the stream. Richard Knight, that's what we are trying to figure out. Thank you so much, Peter. And yep, the board looked green. I guess there might be some issues with the board, or because the countdown was also running. Might just be a delay at their side, or we'll have to wait. Yep, I heard about that 15-minute delay. But what caused this delay, I'm still trying to figure it out. Let me see. "15-minute delay is there for some reason, not so sure." Okay, so I got I got to see like what is happening. So apparently there is a 15-minute delay. Uh, Although everything looked as per the plan, but there is a 15-minute delay for some reason, and we don't know why. Everything was green. They also said that, and it's a very weird thing because if everything was green, then why is the delay? I don't understand it. It can't be. Weather is also there. Okay, I'm telling you what conditions are there on the board. Weather is there. The payload health is there. The rocket health is there. The range is also there. Everything is there, which are actually critical for the rocket to launch. They might have just. It's very very weird to say, but they might have just got their calculations wrong, maybe. So not so sure, but yes. Yes, one more thing to note about that board which we just saw was that that board was incomplete actually, because I have seen a longer board with so many parameters, but the thing which we were saying was a shorter version of it, I guess. So there might be something, but there is some 15-minute delay as we got to here. So maybe I'll just trade my time. But this is a very specific, you know, they already know there will be a 15-minute delay. So like just does not, I can't digest it. It's very much it's not like, you know, they already know this, it will take only 15 minutes to do the things again. Did they already figure it out? Like just what happened? My best guess is they messed up the calculations and they figured it out. It won't be at a good orbital inclination. Okay, so additional checks are being conducted and we'll use the launch window extended time. So yeah, talking about the launch window, I'll tell you the launch window itself, like how does it extend, how long does it extend. So it has it was targeted for obviously the starting of the launch window, but the launch window is, it's a GTO launch, so launch window opens for 1 hour and 40 minutes. Yep, that was one thing. It was saying green for the weather. Actually, Jim, yes, that the thing which we were, seeing was very much condensed. I'm not so sure about that weather thing. I would not have seen it properly, like what was all the parameters on there. But I do know that it was a condensed version. It was summarized version. It was not all that, because I have seen this board in the mission control room, and I know there are so many parameters. So there might be something off, and we did not catch it here. So yeah. Okay, so additional checks, that sounds bad. I mean, yeah, that is something, so we'll have to wait. I have seen this Ariane 5 actually being delayed a lot. I mean, I haven't seen any Ariane 5 being launched on that spot on the time which it was supposed to. It was only the JWST, which was obviously very much redundant for everything. Everything was like checked twice, 10 times, 20 times, because it was JWST which it was carrying. So it was only that one time which I saw the Ariane 5 being launched at the right time without any delay. So Ariane 5 is a tricky rocket, but once it flies, then it does not explode. It has a 100% reliability record, and the upper stage is like hugely capable. I would say it is more like in competition with Centaur, because as I said, it does not have any restart capability, but then also it was able to put that JWST, which was supposed to go in Lagrange point 1, was able to put that JWST at Lagrange point 1 with just one burn. There was no parking orbit, nothing, just one single burn. And let me just tell you, it was so accurate that it actually saved JWST some fuel to extend its life. It was so accurate. It was even accurate than predicted. So yep, it's the upper stage is really very much capable, but it has one disadvantage: it is not restartable. Although with Ariane 6, which is in development right now, hopefully we'll see the first flight next year. So that rocket has the upper stage, which is also derived from this one, but it is a restartable upper stage, because obviously you have more benefit of a restartable upper stage, no matter how good you are at bullseyeing your targeted orbit. So it's always a good to have a restartable engine. The launch window will close, as I said, it's a 1 hour 40 minutes launch window, and it was supposed to launch at the starting of the window. So you can estimate from that. I can't say like what's it in EDT or UTC. So yeah. You were able to hear me everything, right? Was I mute again? I did not realize it. I think everything you were able to, like, whatever I just said regarding Ariane 5 upper stage. Were you able to hear that? Please type in the chat. This mic needs to be replaced. Okay, fine. Okay, you heard me. That's great. But this microphone actually had me on the edge for some days now, and today it was bizarre moment, but somehow I made it work. So let's see. There is some pad issue. Okay, let me just see. They have any update on that? Okay, so due to complimentary checks for the HO is postponed for the VA-25 257, the HO is postponed by a few minutes inside the launch window. We'll keep you posted. So apparently we don't have a thing like what caused the issue. So, and everyone is like very much angry on Twitter. So who like Arianespace official? Let me just get it together. Okay. So obviously everyone is pissed because of its coverage. Why do they just experiment so much? I don't understand it. So yeah, this was the latest update from them, which we are actually seeing in the webcast. So due to complimentary checks, the VA-2757 is postponed by a few minutes inside the launch window, and we'll keep you posted. So we don't know how long the window is or like what is the case, but we just post something up. He's the CEO of Arianespace, so it makes sense for him to post something, but nope, like that. Hey Space Nerd 67, thank you so much for that $3 really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for keeping this channel alive. You all are great guys. If you like want to support me, you can do that by becoming a member. It would really help, because this channel does not work on ad revenue. This channel, you know, survives on membership and super chat. So if you are and have capability to do so, it would be much appreciated. Thank you so much, Space Nerd 67. Appreciate it. VA-257 is the flight number. Yep, that's 257 is the the Arianespace apparently does not have any mission name, and right, so therefore they don't have SpaceX is like the has this pinnacle of the launch coverage. Although the thing which is competing with SpaceX, who else has a good webcast? Rocket Lab has a good one, but obviously the most interesting webcast is of the SpaceX, because it lands the rocket. So every time once the rocket launches and it's in the space, sometimes it kind of becomes boring in other launches, but not for this the SpaceX one, right? Because SpaceX lets us see the rocket being land on the drone ship or landing zone 4 and doing. Every time it lands, I like feel it will miss by some margin. It will just miss by some margin, and every time I'm proved wrong by its bull's eye landing. So okay, SpaceX just operates on another level. But I must say this, SpaceX PR has not been so good apparently. Yep, Like this press kit is released by almost every launch provider, but SpaceX does not have any press kit. For some reason, I don't understand. We don't get to know anything about the payloads from their website. We don't get to know the targeted orbit. We don't get to know what else. We do get to know the mission profile, but yeah, mainly the targeted orbit and the information about the payloads is not known. Nothing is known on that. There is no as such press kit. So, yep, it lacks on that. So, if you have anything we can talk about, we can apparently talk, discuss about something if you really like to talk about something. But I've been watching, let me, discuss about things. Oh, so I've been watching this For All Mankind, and this series is like too good to be true. I mean, it is so great, and when I just see that series, I like feel so sad. Like we have lost so much. If we would have been into that we would have not opted out of that space race, US or Russia, we would have achieved so much greatness. Like electric cars would be a total thing by now. You know why electric cars were introduced properly? Because of the rovers on the moon. You know that? I mean, the battery needed for the electric cars was developed because of the rovers on the moon. And then it was, um, fast forwarded. And if we had stayed on the moon with a proper base, this electric car thingy would have been accelerated so much. So this Tesla which we have now, okay, so we do have, we don't, like, it's in French, so T minus 7 minutes the hold, and authorization lensman. So if anyone here is French, can you please translate it for us? Would be great. And there is something also. So yeah, that series actually not only gives you idea like what we would have achieved in space, but also what we would have achieved on ground. And I'm telling you, we would have been so much advanced technology wise if we would have been there. We would have not opted out, stayed on the moon. So they're saying like whenever you wake up, the morning for you. So early you wake up, good for you. So I am happy that we are going back to the moon, but apparently that is also being delayed. Not even the latest NASA report suggests that it could we won't be able to have a proper base on the moon even by the end of the decade. We will only be having like 3 Artemis mission by the end of the decade. I was like so pissed about that. So the translation, I guess, suggests the launch authorization is red and launch set is also red. Not so good at translation. So if anyone here speaks French or understands one, please enlighten us. Although I hope the thing which you are seeing in the background there, like the rocket which you can actually see on screen, is hopefully the live views of the rocket. So there's that. So Google says launch authorization is wrong, red, and launch set is red. What is a launch set? Because the launcher is green and launch set maybe. Yes, Rohan, you might be right on this. We might have some issues with the ground support equipment apparently. Logistic backup, based measures, GSAT, MEASAT, and weather report, everything is good. Weather forecast is good. Launch set, I don't understand. What is a launch? Hey, Louis Smith, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Okay, let me see if we have any other update. Of the launch pad. Okay, that is. See, this launch authorization is something very weird because the launcher is green, the payload is healthy, and weather is also holding up. So this launch authorization may be a range issue, or what. Launch authorization would obviously be red once anything goes red, below that. So that ensemble the lensum, and I am no French here, so I don't know what does that mean, but I guess that is something related to pad. So yep, if that's the case, there is ground support equipment issue, and when it's a GSE issue, how should I say, GSE issue can be solved like by not going there on the pad sometimes, but I have seen with bigger rockets, especially like I have seen with the Delta 4 Heavy. Delta 4 Heavy was like, there was some NROL mission only. It was cancelled so many times, like it was delayed and delayed again and again on the pad because of some GSE. Sometimes it range, weather, and whatnot. But when it was GSE, so they holded the timeline. Like they can't. Maybe they just tried to solve it by having some backup measures or something, but apparently they failed. Sometimes GSE is tricky because it's ground support equipments, right? And those are what should I say, are not designed to be redundant as such, because they don't fly up into space. So like critical systems are always redundant because you don't want a rocket to explode because of the ground supporting equipment, but most of the time it is not redundant, other systems. So if there is a problem with the pad and GSC, redundancy would not be there, and I guess they would just try to solve it by how should I say, shutting it off and restarting. It's actually a very good technique to solve any issue, because it's like you are resetting everything, right? And once you like, if there is a software bug or a mechanical bug or anything, when you reset everything and start from the beginning, you solve many issues. So maybe they're trying to do that. It works, literally it works, not only in computers, Wi-Fi, and phones, but also in space. Like I remember the Apollo spacecraft which landed, the Eagle one which landed on the moon, had some system failure because I think the RAM overloaded. At that time they only got like 4 KB of RAM, 4 kilobytes. That's it. It overloaded and it caused the and it commanded, because of that the whole computer got restarted. There was some issue because of that. They were on the edge because of that restart of the computer, but again, a restart. That's what I'm trying to focus on. When Apollo computer restarted and solved this issue, restart, shutting it off and turning it back on is a good measure for anything to work properly. So yeah, almost anything. We can't speculate much, Rohan, so we'll have to wait and see like what is the issue here. But if it is the pad, let's see. Not so hopeful, but let's see. And talking about that, you know, HO, which which if you saw that on the tweet, due to complimentary checks for VA-25 257, the HO is postponed. HO is nothing but H0, or they say R0 in Arianespace, but it is actually meant for T0. So that's what they meant. I hope they are trying it right now. Guess you people don't like this music, right? So yep, who is this babe Baba Yara? And did I make him the more? Changed some plans, right? L0, yes, they Pratim, you are right about that. They have this H0 in Arianespace, so translate to R0. So yeah, different country, different convention. So launch set is, I guess, the launch pad issue. So as I said, launch pad does not have much redundancy built in it, and apparently you are seeing the live views on the pad. I hope they would have just removed that big red thingy and showed us the views of the rocket. We would have been happy with that, but apparently I don't know why. Arianespace, why do you keep experimenting with these stream? I mean, they literally like solved this streaming issue like few times back. Like few streams which they had previously were so good, like SpaceX like one, but they have now again gone back to their usual coverage, as I say, which no one likes apparently, but yeah, that's how it is. So the sound was high because I wasn't speaking, so yep. Okay, Moonman 4. Baba Yara, can you please tell us, like, who are you and have you changed your name? Because I don't remember you making mod. Yep, hi prop. There is some issue with the launchpad. So the launchpad is sometimes can be solved. Sometimes, most of the time, it is not. Spoiler alert. But sometimes it can be solved. So we'll have to wait and see. They also said that there'll be like 50. Oh, Nishant. Okay, Nishant. Okay, you are Nishant. Fine. So yes, I was saying that yes. So apparently, I was saying that what was I saying? My memory is a bitch, right? So yeah, I was talking about that GSE issue. So sometimes, most of the time, it is not resolved. Sometimes it is resolved, and let's see. I was talking about that 15 minute. They were so like specific about there will be a 15-minute delay, and I was very much surprised at that point of time, because you can't, when there is a problem, you just can't predict at that very moment for like how long that issue will stay. So that was a pretty weird one from me, because there was nothing red also at that point of time. So okay, we now know there was a launch pad issue. So guys, I guess you just listen in for on the tunes for some times, and I'll try to dig some things like let's just send a guy out there, right? Well, if you were in China or Russia, you might have send your guy out, because in China and in Russia they are like very very close, and I mean there are people on the pad when it is fully fueled. So yes, that's how they operate. So they might have, if it is China or Russia, they might have sent someone, but it's not that country. So it is being launched from Kourou, and Kourou is in South America, if I'm not wrong. And yep, March 2028. And this Ariane 5 is mostly it does not require an instantaneous launch window, because this is a heavy launcher. So this does not launch, most of the time it does not launch to low Earth orbit. Most of the time it launches only to the geosynchronous transfer orbit, and those orbits have a big launch window. Yeah. So Baba Yara, I need to find some tunes, don't have it right now, but whatever is playing right now, I increase the volume. I might try finding out some tunes for you, but I'll have to wait. You'll have to wait for some time for. But let's just listen in this tunes, and I'll try to dig some thing regarding like what is happening, and yeah, I'll be back as soon as I have update. So enjoy the music. apparently we have an update. So they have resolved the problem, and 9:50 UTC. I'll just update the timer so that you know what it is actually.
Hello, welcome back on Road to Space. We just interrupted the launch and the program. Just at the time, David, we were talking about this green panel, and we were talking about those green lights, and just as this time, one turned into red. What happened?
Yes, that's right. So during the checks that were done at the end of the filling of the tanks, there were some measures that were seen that were a bit out of the usual measures that we see in this case, and therefore, of course, we take no risks. So we stopped the countdown and we analyzed these measures to make sure that there was nothing that could stop the launch, and therefore now the teams have finished the analysis. Everything has come back to normal, so we can launch again the.
And as you told us before, space is hard, and those things happen. For those who are joining us now on Road to Space, stay tuned. In just a couple of minutes, we'll be connecting to Kourou in the French Guiana to follow the launch step by step. But now let's have a look at the menu tonight.
Tonight on Road to Space, we are live from Europe's spaceport in French Guiana with our...
Okay, guys. The issue was resolved. There was some issue with the sensor, I guess, the fueling one. So the checks have been completed of the upper stage, and now everything is looking good. We are T-minus 7 minutes from the launch. Things are looking great, and let's see what do we have in store for us today.
Ariane cities.
Nous sommes fiers du soutien et du parrainage de Bordeaux Métropole.
We will unveil the secrets of one of the space industry's most unknown jobs. And finally, we'll be answering all your questions on social media. So don't go away. Stay with us and enjoy the ride.
So David, we're only a few minutes from liftoff. So what is happening right now to the two passengers at this time?
Finale lanceur. Le nouvel ISRO est 21h50 00 temps universel.
Yes, so we just.
So that's the DDO we've just been hearing.
Right, we just heard the DDO announce the start of the synchronized sequence.
Yeah.
And the new liftoff time, which will be in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So yes, in this last minutes, we will have the final pressurization of the tanks, of the liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen tanks. We will start in a few seconds, a few minutes, the opening of the valves that would feed the main engine with propellants. And shortly before liftoff, we will have a handover from the ground equipment to the launcher, who will control the power and all the last steps before liftoff.
At this time, is it still possible that Ariane 5 doesn't lift off?
Yes, again, in these last minutes, there's a lot of tests that are going on. And so, of course, we have done some controls before to make sure that everything goes as expected, but there are some tests, so these tests could always stop the launch.
Okay, so it's a stressful time since teams have been working for weeks and months, and so we have some images of that campaign that we'll be watching, and if you're okay, David, you will comment all those images for us.
Of course, yes. Images. So here we have the arrival of our first passenger, MEASAT 3D, who arrived in Kourou by boat. The container was transferred to the spacecraft
by boat, because apparently the Antonov, which is which was popular, I would say, for carrying these satellites, is no longer in service. So yep.
On the flight adapter, and then it was fueled. And the second spacecraft you see here coming out of an Indian C-17 airplane. It was also transferred to the spacecraft preparation facilities
this one actually
for testing.
This GSAT was actually supposed to be transported on Antonov, but it was not available now, obviously. So it was transported on C-17 Globemaster, which is Indian Air Force cargo carrier. So yeah, it did the job.
Here you see GSAT-24 being put on top of Ariane 5.
So this GSAT-24 is like the inside the Silda. So the upper part has the MEASAT. So first of all, the MEASAT will deploy, then the Silda will deploy, and then the GSAT-24 will deploy.
Assembled on top of the launcher. The logos of our customers that were put on the fairing, this is one important point, of course. And finally, when everything is ready, the launcher and the spacecraft, yes, just today, the launcher was brought out of the final assembly building and was transferred to the launch pad where the operations started yesterday to prepare the launch.
Thank you very much, David. We should ask to have a Road to Space sticker on the next rocket. That's just something I would like very much. It looks like everyone has done an incredible job to make this all happen. If you look up on your screen now, you will have some live images from the Guiana Space Center in Kourou.
Please, yep. We need to see the rocket. We had apparently T-minus 3 minutes from the launch. Things are looking great. As you can see, all the things are green, so therefore everything is looking good for the launch. You may be seeing some clouds over the Kourou, but that is very much common because this is surrounded by rainforest, so the cloud formation is very much common, but it is able to pass through those conditions. So the weather conditions are green, so that's not a problem. And yep, we are T-minus 2 minutes 30 seconds remaining. Ariane 5 is ready to launch, and it will launch 2 satellites, the MEASAT 3D and the GSAT-24, to the geosynchronous transfer orbit. And let me just tell you, this Ariane 5 is powered by 2 solid rocket booster and a Vulcan engine for the first stage. Most of the thrust is obviously provided by the SRB, but the Vulcan engine itself runs for a very long time because it's a hydrolox engine, so it runs for around 9 minutes, the first stage itself, then it is jettisoned, and then the very small upper stage which has a insanely high ISP of 446 seconds runs for 15 minutes. So yes, and it does not restart. So GTO in one go. Under 2 minutes now, T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. We are good to go. Please show us the rocket now.
Operations. And by the way, I take the opportunity to say hi to them, even if I know that at this time they are fully focused on what they're doing.
I don't know if we have the possibility to watch at the Jupiter room, because we see all the people in the Jupiter room moving to the windows. Well, those are the people.
Attention pour moins 1 minute.
So we just had an image of people watching.
Yes.
Because people are attending over there.
I0 moins 1 minute.
T-minus 1 minute, guys. Everything is going as per the plan. And everything is green. Please, rocket. Finally.
For the time being, everything continues to be green. So
range operator has
still go for launch.
And now we are
go for the
42
launch.
seconds from the ignition. So this is the...
We are T-minus 40 seconds. Finally, the views. This is what we are looking for. Such a good looking rocket, and just listen in now. T-minus 30 seconds. Okay, this is happening finally. T-minus 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top.
Ignition and SRB ignition, Vulcan coming to full thrust, and ignition and liftoff.
Allumage de EAP, décollage.
Whoa. That is something, dude. Now, where's the tracking cam? Okay, this is good. This was good.
Well, we have just seen Ariane 5 disappear into space. Do stay with us, everyone, Because what's going to happen next is as crucial as the launch.
Trajectoire
This is,
nominale.
of course, the moment when the two satellites, GSAT-24 and MEASAT 3D, are
Oh,
placed into
wow.
orbit.
Okay.
David,
There's
you're our
the
space
rocket.
expert tonight.
There's the
Ariane 5
rocket.
still
We
has a
don't want to
long
see
way
the
travel
animations.
before the separation of the two satellites.
It looks so good right now with those SRBs warning, but dude, they have messed up the stream.
MEASAT 3D we will separate from the launcher
Okay.
in about 30 minutes.
So yes, the things are looking good.
Trajectoire
Out
nominale.
of Kenya.
Everything is
And
going as per the plan.
GSAT-24 will separate about 10 minutes later above the Pacific Ocean, about 38,800.
There you go. It is almost 90 degree now. You can see the graph. It is following the planned trajectory. 24 kilometer altitude, 17 is the distance, and 1.06 kilometer per second is the velocity. So yes, it has passed that max Q threshold now.
The tracking stations, and they are checking that everything is going according to.
This is
to
the
what was
infrared
foreseen.
cam. SRB jettison is the next step now.
Incredible.
Just watching. So it was really impressive. And it's really nice.
Yep, it is a major turn off, but that's what we have to work with now. So this SRB turn off is coming up in few seconds. The velocity is 2 kilometer per second. There you go. It is burning. Okay, kind of not so good, but it's because it's just trailing off, and now the separation. Whoa, look at those rocket. Wow.
Have very good images tonight. We have.
That's the
apparently
first
very
time we
clear
see it
skies.
so
The
clearly. That's
first time,
incredible.
it really is.
Yep, the first
So the
time.
launcher is at an altitude
Le
of
paramètre à
about
bord
70
sont normaux,
kilometers
trajectoire
and
nominale.
traveling about 7,000 kilometers.
I don't
per
know,
hour.
something felt wrong with the
We've
SRBs.
just heard the DDO has announced
But,
the fairing separation.
Pairing separation, but
So
everything is looking good because it is going following the planned trajectory. So it might just be those trail off of the SRBs which was messing up. So yeah, things are looking good right now.
It's, from the atmosphere and from the liftoff.
So it's not already done. I'm confused. It's not already done. It will happen.
It should happen shortly, yes.
Should happen shortly. And you have
An earpiece.
There
An
you
earpiece,
go,
and so you're
separated. We can see the satellites now.
there we go.
There we go. Well, for all of you who've just joined us on Road to Space, the Ariane 5 rocket has just left the Guiana Space Center in Kourou 3 minutes ago. And tonight we have two very special passengers on board, one from MEASAT, Malaysia's first satellite.
The velocity
operator,
is
and the
increasing.
second one
Still,
from
it is running on the first stage itself, guys. Let me tell you, this will run for around 9 minutes. So this first stage is, yep, it burns really very long. So
Yes,
Nominale.
so MEASAT 3D will be in geostationary position, 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. The satellite will be fixed with respect to the ground, as I explained before. And so it will be in what we call the 91.5 degree east orbital slot, which if you look at a world map, you will see that 91.5 degree longitude east is over the Indian Ocean, about 1,000 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur. So it will be in a perfect position to serve
Pilotage
Malaysia
carrière,
and
trajectoire
Southeast
nominale.
Asia.
Okay, MEASAT 3D is part of the MEASAT family. We had MEASAT 1, 2, and 3A, launched all by Arianespace in 1996 and
there you can see
14.
those burning. So right now it is well above the atmosphere. It's still burning good. You can see the trajectory. It is flattening out because obviously it is now focusing. It's out of the atmosphere, so it is now focusing more on gaining the orbit, which is by adding more horizontal velocity rather than vertical. So therefore the trajectory is flattening right now. But the velocity is still increasing, which is a good sign always. And yeah, things are looking great. You can see the mission control room, and this mission control room is actually very much similar to what we have here in ISRO also. I mean, That's how it looks like, right?
images.
And Vulcan 2 engine, to be precise, is doing its job, burning perfectly. It's, you can see it is having such a good amount of dead weight, because
And for the people that are
this
watching
is
us
a
in
9-minute burn carrying
space
whole
on
rocket
the
almost
low part
to
of the
the
screen,
atmosphere, to the orbit. Still the velocity is not so much, so you can see the trajectory is too steep. I mean, it tries to get out of the atmosphere too quickly and then tries to flatten it out. And when you have to go to GTO in just one burn, that's what you gotta do, because you have to when you have to go to GTO in just one burn, you make sure you first achieve that altitude, and then you try to flatten it out in that altitude, because since there will be like a 15-minute burn, so you need to be at that perigee at that point of time when you want to start that GTO burn. Therefore you go slightly steep in the GTO trajectory. So right now 167 kilometer is the altitude. It has to achieve around 250 kilometer of perigee, so it should certainly increase, but it's not increasing. So I guess it's flattening out in here only. So uh, we'll have to wait and see. Although this rocket, this upper stage, actually performs some weird maneuvers also. It actually has this certain um, dip maneuver, or you will see that once it comes into action. So it's not, right now it is the altitude is dipping, which you can see. Although it's just it does not mean it is having some issues. It's just a natural trajectory, which simply means it is uh, you know um what should I say, it is after the apogee here. So that's not a problem. Once the second stage kicks in, you will see the altitude again increasing. So that is not, it is not properly, it is nominal right now.
par la station
To
de
go into
Natal
orbit.
au Brésil.
And also the geography makes it possible to launch towards the north, towards the east. So all kinds of orbits are possible to be reached from Kourou.
Okay, and David, while you were explaining us, we hear the DDO announcing Natal acquisition. Just a word about that, please.
Yeah, so Natal, as you see on the screen, is a tracking
Yep,
station.
I drink coffee and I need one right now. It's like 3:30 a.m. here on in my country. So yep, the altitude is still dipping, but right now it has those engines are cut off. There you go, the separation
So at the time we're
confirmed.
talking, the rocket
And we have the ignition of the second stage. Now this second stage will perform that maneuvers.
8 minutes ago.
if
It
if
has
that
now separated
there you
from
go, it's
the
kind
main
of
core
dips
stage.
down,
Can you explain us what it means?
but then
Yeah,
it
so the
kicks
DDO
off. So
just
yeah,
announced, yes, the
Yeah.
fact that the main stage
Allumage
has
I
réalisé.
I'm not so sure that it will perform that exactly that maneuver again this time, but most of the time it performs. We'll have to wait and see. Still the altitude is not uh, that the perigee should have been 250 kilometer as per their press kit, but it is not 164 kilometers. It seems like that. So yeah, I guess.
75 tons that we had at the time of liftoff.
Quite incredible.
So the higher you go, the
lighter it will be.
the lighter,
Yes.
the lighter you get. We just hear the loss of Galliot signal, if I'm right. I'm just looking. Yeah, we lost Galliot signal. What does it mean? Does it mean the rocket is out of sight, out of here, out of connection?
With Kourou, yes, that's right. Galio is the tracking station in Kourou. And of course, as we move towards the east, at some point, we are no longer visible from Kourou.
This burn, since it is a very long burn and it has to go to GTO directly, therefore you are actually seeing this altitude getting dipped, because it already passes that perigee point. So yeah, sometimes you can see it's actually just decreasing. But why did they write like 250 kilometer as the perigee? in their press kit. So it's something which you need to look at, but right now it's just decreasing and decreasing. Maybe they just uh, had those equations figured it out in those 15 minutes. There you go, the Vulcan engine startup with those rofies.
Just before the boosters are ignited and then the launcher lifts off. It's indeed a very impressive sight. A lot of power, more than 1,500 tons of thrust. And in a few seconds, the launcher reaches the speed of sound. So yes, it's always a very
Tous les
powerful
paramètres à
sight.
bord sont normaux. Propulsion nominale.
Okay, so in
Whoa, Peter. Oh, thank you so much for that 20 man. Coffee's on me on the in the morning since you are up so late. Thank you so much. It would really pay for my coffee. I must say that. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, man. You paid for the stream. I must say that.
More than 7 kilometers per second, and they are at about 150 kilometers. And yes, they will continue to accelerate for some minutes to reach the right velocity before separation.
Well, as Baptiste said, we lost the Galileo signal and we're about to lose Natal. Let's see what.
Thank you so much, Peter, again for that 20. It's so generous of you. And right now we are looking in. Again, the altitude is dipping and dipping. But it's all right. Once it achieves that orbital velocity, it will gain the apogee and it will start gaining the altitude also. So there's not a problem.
But this is not an issue because all the data will be recorded on the launcher and then downloaded as soon as we get to ascension.
And apparently they are showing this footage, this tracking footage now, which they should have showed us during the launch. Okay, that is something, you know.
We saw the EAP separating.
Yep, Depratim, just that's what I said right now. They should have shown this during the live launch because we are here to see the live launch, not a recorded one.
Okay, we just heard true télémesure attendu, which means
we are expecting to have.
Réacquisition de la télémesure.
Oh, there we go.
Par la station d'Ascension.
So
so those little seconds.
There were few seconds.
Few
yes.
seconds.
It was really very short. Yes.
David, I'd just like to bring up something that caught my eye, which we haven't talked about for the moment. The logo of the city of Bordeaux, which appears on the rocket's fairing. What can you tell us about this?
Yes, indeed, Bordeaux is part of the community of Ariane cities, which is an organization.
So now you can see it has now achieved the orbital velocity. So it will now flip those apogee and perigee, points, and therefore it will start again gaining the altitude. So it's now that means around 153 kilometer is the perigee, which is like 100 kilometer off from their press kit. But I guess that's how it is because that's how the trajectory is planned. And now you will see that the altitude will increase only because now it has gained the orbital velocity. It will now just start okay, going to the GTO orbit. So okay.
The city of Bordeaux is known worldwide not only for its relaxed lifestyle, its gastronomy, and its
This was something, but I did not expect this from Arianespace. Like they have messed up many streams, but they improved, like literally improved. If you'll see those live streams which they did, like a few live streams previously, you will see they like did what the community asked for, but this time they totally messed up. See, actually, I don't think so. There is a problem with the broadcasting it live. See, what I can think of, it's a broadcasting error. Cameras were available, tracking cameras were available. Obviously, that's why they were able to track those, track that rocket which we just saw. So the tracking cameras were available. There was no technical glitch. The only thing was the broadcaster who was broadcasting, he did not, he, you can say, forget to switch over to the tracking cam from the launch pad cam. So you can say it's a broadcaster fault, more of a broadcaster fault rather than this um, broadcasting potential failure. This was not, this is not a case, but yeah. Okay, guys. This is the Ariane 6 which you just saw, and hopefully you'll see it flying again to not again, obviously flying for the first time next year. Good night, Peter. Hopefully you'll have a good night. Thank you so much for coming in. No, I don't think so. The whole does not cause this production, and the broadcasting is like totally different from this technical thingy. So they are not at all interrelated. So hold is not related with that. I'm telling you, this is totally a broadcaster mistake. They forgot to switch over to a target tracking cam.
Nous sommes fiers du soutien et du parrainage de Bordeaux Métropole au sein de la communauté des villes Ariane en 2020 et en 2021. Nous allons désormais continuer à soutenir le développement économique de la métropole bordelaise.
Yep, sometimes it is the case. They actually, you know, Arianespace, we don't get those live streams which we want, but they are actually spending a hell lot of money on their launch broadcast. I would say the highest amount of money spent on a launch broadcast is from them only, because they have a proper studio in place. They have this host which they obviously have to pay them, and they like have a proper studio in place, and right. So the launch broadcast in terms of pricing would be like, this would be the costliest broadcast which we ever see, but apparently they are not giving us the results. So I don't know if that is a good trade-off. It is not for me.
So on October 11th, Bordeaux Métropole will hold its second Aeronautics Summit, an event gathering leaders of the sector, politicals, researchers, entrepreneurs, and investors. They will meet to affirm their progress.
Thank you, Space Nerd 67. Once you can 4 a.m. now, so you can say whatever you want.
It's clear that in particular with the arrival of very large constellations in low Earth orbit, everyone has to play the game, and they have to follow, everybody has to follow international regulations and make sure that all elements are deorbited at the end of their lifetime.
And so Arianespace has already demonstrated a responsible attitude towards space debris. Concretely, what are they doing?
Yeah, so
ESA is very much active on this space environment and space debris thingy. So anything coming in from Arianespace will have that in place. So they don't leave any debris. That is one USP for them. So the passivation happens, and but they, I must say that you know, they have this low perigee for this upper stage, because they have this passivation but they don't have the restartability. Therefore they can't lower the perigee to the atmosphere, inside the atmosphere. So therefore they tend to keep the perigee very low with the respect to the atmosphere. Therefore, since you know, after 100 kilometer also there is some sort of atmosphere and drag. Therefore the drag can play its role and bring it down. So yeah, it's a very high energy orbit. Obviously GTO1 is a very high energy orbit, but yep,
by deorbiting it, or by transferring it to a safe graveyard orbit.
I must say, Rohan, whatever they are doing, I don't know, but I'm very much impressed with the NSIL, this GSAT-24 presentation which ISRO made with the Somnath sir. So if it was made by ISRO or NSIL, I think it was made by NSIL. So that is really a big step up in their PR thing.
It will require, on the one hand, for all the actors to play the game and to follow the rules and to follow regulations to avoid adding additional debris. And on the other hand, it will require missions like the one that Clear Space will perform to go and catch debris in orbit, which represent a risk. So Arianespace, of course, is ready to provide the launch services for these kind of missions to go and get some debris in orbit.
Okay. So Ariane 5 is now on its way. It still has a long way to go before MEASAT 3D and GSAT-24 separate from the launcher. In the meantime, let's have a look at some questions we receive on the social network. David, we have a question for you tonight. This one comes from, it appears just behind us. Laetitia, how long did it take to build Ariane 5?
Yeah, so building Ariane 5, it starts way back, roughly 3 years before the launch, when the first pieces of metal, the first screws are built. And progressively, more and more complex systems are assembled, leading to the manufacturing and the assembly of the stages that are then shipped to French Guiana. And finally, it takes about 6 weeks in Kourou to do the final assembly and to integrate the satellites for the launch.
So once all those different elements of the rocket have been built over Europe, how are they transported to Kourou?
Well,
by boat, I guess.
Yes. In the end, by boat. All the elements are transported first by road or by river boat to several main harbors around Europe, in France, in the Netherlands, in Italy. And from there, Arianespace has 2 boats that go across the Atlantic and that transfer all the stages for the launches.
Okay, thank you very much, David. Well, we are now less than 6 minutes away from the separation of the first satellites. And of course, we'll be going live to the Jupiter room in Kourou. Just before, let's find out about the latest development on Ariane 6. We will have some images, and same job for you. Can you comment, please, all those images?
Yeah, so these images are from January this year. So we have in this boat the 2 first Ariane 6 liquid propellant stages that arrived at the European spaceport. This arrival meant it was the beginning of what we call the combined test. So for the first time, Ariane 6 launcher components will meet the launch pad in order to test both of them together in real life conditions, including firing of the main engine of the launcher. So after a short road trip, the containers arrived in this building, the Ariane 6 brand new launcher assembly building. This building is completely different from the one that's used for Ariane 5 today, because Ariane 5 is assembled vertically while Ariane 6 is assembled horizontally. Right now, the launcher that will be used for this combined test is being assembled in this building. And a few hundred meters away, you can see the launch pad with its huge mobile gantry. Here, tests have been performed as well using a launcher mock-up, you see in the images. And all the propellant system has been tested, including the large cryogenic arms that you see here. They will open a few moments before liftoff of Ariane 6. And we have similar, this is for the upper stage, and on the lower stage there's similar systems that you see here that are protected by these metal boxes.
Well, if you've been following us, you'll know that Ariane 5 lifted off 23 minutes ago from the European Space Centre in Kourou. So we're now very close to the first separation. In less than 5 minutes, MEASAT 3D will be put into geostationary transfer orbit to reach an altitude of 36,000 kilometers.
Thank you. And now let's concentrate on what is happening next. David, I'm sure you have some additional information to give us.
Yes, so in a few seconds, we're very close to the end of the upper stage. The upper stage engine should shut down shortly, meaning that the targeted orbit has been reached. And so after that,
right now the velocity is around 9.24 kilometer per second. And the escape velocity for Earth is around 11.2 kilometer per second. So it certainly won't increase by that much, so it won't surpass it, obviously. It will, I guess, stay below 10 kilometer per second only, so we'll have to wait and see. But right now, it did whatever we expected it from to do. It followed the planned trajectory, and now I guess now the second stage has been cut off. Wow, they will cut off to this presentation at that moment when they have to separate the satellite and wow, okay. I think that right now they're just not they are not separating, but right now one important milestone obviously happened. That is the engine has been cut off. So that has happened now at t plus 29 minutes or so. I guess we'll see the MEASAT 3D separation.
Eager to look to that. Through the summer, we will consolidate a number of additional milestones, which will bring us to end September. And end September, we will, of course, be in a position to have more confidence and consolidate our planning towards the maiden flight and ramp up of Ariane 6. Regarding the ESA Ministerial Council at the end of the year, we have two top priorities from the STS side. On the one side, Ariane 6 and Vega C market introduction, which will need also enhanced performances. For that, we will go with a proposal to our member states to increase the performance of the P120C Plus, and combined for Ariane 6 with an increase of the thrust level of Vinci, and of course, all the accompanying programs to Ariane 6 and Vega C. The other top priorities is really the preparation of the future. We need an ambitious preparation of the future. We have to take challenges. For these challenges, we want to ensure growth and competitiveness, and for that, we are having the preparation of the future with FLPP, and on the other side, the commercial space transportation services with the Boost program. And as we speak, the teams are working hard towards the preparation of the Vega C first flight, and this is now our next step, so we stay focused.
Well, so now it's time to go back and to stick to live, because we are a few minutes away from MEASAT 3D separation from Ariane 5. David, what news do you have from Kourou about this first separation that is about to happen?
Yes, it should happen in a few seconds. The launcher has now finished the maneuvers to give MEASAT 3D the correct orientation. And yes, in a few seconds, we should have the confirmation of the separation.
Which is a really important step.
It is indeed a very important step, yes.
Well, let me remind you all that MEASAT is the premium supplier of communication and video services to leading broadcasters, direct-to-home platforms, and telecom operators in Malaysia.
There we go. We have now the confirmation.
Yeah, that's perfect. And so you were telling the separation
of MEASAT 3D is one of the most important stages of tonight's flight, isn't it, guys? Another one is when the satellite links up to the operator, and MEASAT will be looking forward to this momentous moment. Oh, they are clapping.
Yeah.
Where they can finally celebrate the end of the mission. David, for the moment, all the teams in Kourou seem to, there's thumbs up, they seem to be very happy.
Yes, but indeed it's a very good moment for MEASAT, but the mission is not over yet.
And this is why we see in the Jupiter room, if you have people clapping, but most of the people, most of the others are not.
All. They're very serious.
Staying focused.
Yes, so the launcher now will do a few maneuvers to release the SILDA, the level launch structure. And then after that,
so
we'll do some
first satellite has been deployed successfully. Now the SILDA will be deployed, and then the GSAT-24 will be deployed. And thank you so much, WWHB, for that 3. Really appreciated, man. Really appreciated it. It's literally, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have, I think, the SILDA separation.
Have this confirmation,
yes.
So which means we are 10 minutes away from the second separation, GSAT-24, a first demon-driven communication satellite mission undertaken by the New Space India Limited. So all teams, as we said,
There you
in
see
Kourou remain.
the NSI, the Silda has been separated, therefore the GSAT-24 is exposed to space.
What role do they play in the mission? Let's watch. I'm not asking you the question. Let's watch. Let's watch this report.
Je m'appelle Justine, j'ai 26 ans et ça fait 3 ans que je travaille chez Arianespace maintenant. Et je suis ingénieure en analyse de mission et responsable CVI. Donc CVI, c'est un peu vague, ça veut dire contrôle visuel immédiat.
T plus 35 minutes is when this GSAT will be deployed.
Je m'appelle Massimiliano, je suis le chef du service sauvegarde-vol au CNES, au Centre spatial guyanais.
Le cœur du métier, c'est pendant le lancement où on doit décrire le plus précisément possible le comportement du lanceur pour informer nos collègues et les clients. Et l'élément le plus important, c'est d'annoncer la séparation du satellite, parce que forcément c'est un moment essentiel, tout le monde applaudit. Et ensuite, tout de suite après, dès que possible, de fournir donc l'orbite d'injection au client, qui est l'élément clé pour le satellite. Donc, comme on surveille le lanceur, on va être en Guyane, au plus proche des moyens de télémesure, donc du suivi du lanceur.
Sauvegarde-vol, nous on s'occupe du lanceur dès le décollage pour s'assurer qu'il ne devient jamais dangereux pour les populations et pour les biens. Donc on surveille la trajectoire du lanceur et si besoin, on peut être amené à détruire les lanceurs avant qu'ils puissent être en danger pour les personnes.
Côté CNES, donc Massimiliano, ils doivent protéger les populations. Donc c'est un monde totalement différent, mais finalement, comme le nôtre, ils doivent surveiller le lanceur en temps réel. Mon moment préféré, c'est le décompte final. Vous savez, quand on a 10, 9, 8, nous, on est là, on attend. Et au décollage, c'est là où on va commencer à parler. Et là, il y a un débit de folie, il y a un coup d'adrénaline.
Moi, j'ai fait des études en tant qu'ingénieur aérospatial. Il n'y a pas d'école pour devenir un responsable sauvegarde-vol ou pour faire de la sauvegarde. Pour être un CVI, il faut entre 3 et 6 mois de formation. Et c'est une formation qui comprend une partie théorique et aussi une partie pratique avec des rejeux de vol qui ont été un peu modifiés pour pouvoir faire apparaître des anomalies pour que la CVI puisse s'entraîner. On a une grosse responsabilité. Donc, il faut des personnes qui sachent gérer le stress. Il faut être très rigoureux. C'est quelque chose qui est très motivant. Je pense que ça donne un sens de responsabilité, d'importance à ce qu'on fait.
Non mais on est vraiment obligé d'en parler. Une ou deux fois, ça m'est arrivé d'oublier de couper le micro pendant la phase de préparation où on racontait des blagues pour détendre l'atmosphère. C'était assez gênant. D'un seul coup, tous les téléphones de la salle se sont mis à sonner et tout le monde m'a appelé pour me dire « Justine, ton micro, il est ouvert !» Nous, on arrive 1h30, 2h avant le lancement pour être en place. Donc oui, toute cette phase d'attente, en fait, le stress, il va augmenter au fur et à mesure jusqu'au décompte final. Donc c'est important de trouver des moyens de décompresser. Donc on discute, on fait connaissance avec les équipes qu'on voit pas souvent, et on raconte des blagues.
Les lancements de James Webb, le télescope James Webb, qui a marqué le spatial mondial et en particulier les centres spatial guyanais et l'équipe sauvegarde-vol parce qu'on a participé à ces lancements historiques. L'espace, c'est quand même quelque chose qui me passionne depuis la petite enfance. Donc, j'ai eu la chance de voir un lancement quelques semaines, 15 jours après mon arrivée en Guyane.
Il faut croire en vous et il faut essayer. Il n'y a pas assez de femmes dans les domaines scientifiques, il n'y a pas assez de femmes dans le spatial. Et voilà, je pense qu'il faut pas se donner de barrières et il faut penser à ce qu'on veut faire et pas à ce qu'on ne peut pas faire.
Thank you so much, WWHB, for that appreciation. I'm glad you liked it. So thank you so much for that. And we are coming in for the GSAT-24 separation. Okay, yep. T plus 40 minutes. Yes, 6 minutes are left. Actually, you must be wondering like why can't they just separate it back to back? So it's all about separating it at the right time so that the ground station can lock onto it. And once it will pass near the Indian Ocean so that the ground station situated in India can lock onto it, it will deploy it. So right now you can see it is closing in be over the Indian Ocean. So once it is, then it will deploy the satellite, and we can see.
A couple of questions from
Okay.
you on the social network related to tonight's flight. And we have this one from Elon Musk. It's a different one. The question is, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so I give you a sum up. When can we consider the mission of an Ariane 5 rocket to be over?
Yes, for our customers, Ariane 5 mission is over once the satellites have been released from the launcher in the targeted orbit. So this is what just happened for MEASAT. However, for us at Arianespace, the mission continues a bit after releasing the satellites. We use the remaining propellants on the tanks to reduce the altitude of the orbit as much as possible. And then we depressurize the tanks to make sure there is no problem. And we basically turn down all the power and all the systems on the launcher. Basically, we shut everything down in a safe way.
I have a question for you, David. You spoke earlier about both satellites being launched into a geostationary transfer orbit. We talk a lot about geostationary position, which we all know is, 36,000 kilometers above our heads. But what is the difference between the two?
Yeah, so yes, indeed, the launcher is putting the satellites into what we call a GTO, a geostationary transfer orbit. This orbit is an ellipse with a low point at 250 kilometers above the Earth and a high point at 36,000 kilometers above the Earth, so the geostationary altitude. And so when the satellite reaches this high point of the ellipse, it will use its own engines to accelerate and to avoid falling back to 250 kilometers. And so this acceleration will be sufficient to stay at 36,000 kilometers all the time. So it will, at that point, be in geostationary orbit.
Okay, David, you explained us before the first satellite is released above Kenya, more or less, and the second one above the Indian Ocean. So what's the launcher speed at this time?
At the time of the release of the satellite, the first one, MEASAT 3D, it was about 9 kilometers per second. And as we climb up, the velocity decreases and the separation of GSAT will take place with a velocity around 7.3 kilometers per second.
I have something, because we've been talking before Road to Space tonight, and you explained me, we can compare this, me throwing a ball.
Yes, that's right. You can compare it to your hand could be the rocket.
The rocket, yeah.
And so when you release the ball, this is what happens when you release the satellites. Your hand stops pushing the ball, the rocket stops pushing the satellites, but the satellites continue moving up, and this is how they will move up to these 36,000 kilometers, which is the apogee of the orbit.
Okay.
A great comparison. Thank you, David. Well, we are now less than 2 minutes away from the separation of GSAT-24, the Indian satellite manufactured by ISRO. So if we look up at the screen, what information is it giving us, David? Flight info, speed, altitude, height. Can you say that everything is normal?
Yes, right now everything is normal. The launcher is doing its last maneuvers to put GSAT-24 in the right orientation for the release. So we are now about 3,500 kilometers above the Indian Ocean, just not very far from India, and with a speed of, close to 7.3 kilometers per second.
So does this separation signal the end of the mission? That's what we want to know.
Well, this separation will be the last operation performed by the launcher, but as I said before, after that we will wait for the confirmation of the acquisition of a signal from the customer.
And at what time will this happen?
Well, this should happen about 10 to 12 minutes after the separation of GSAT-24.
So all the teams they are waiting patiently in Kourou. They must be on tender hooks. This is a huge moment for them.
Yeah, we're seconds away from the second separation.
Just waiting for Raymond Boyce, the DDO.
We have the confirmation that, yes, as you see in the images, the launcher has finished the maneuvers, and therefore the separation will happen shortly.
So you have the confirmation yet? Because I'm waiting now until the
There we go. Oh, brilliant.
Well, so this is the DDO, and he has just confirmed the separation of GSAT-24.
Finally, guys, the mission is successful. 100% successful. You can't doubt the Ariane 5 because it's a very reliable rocket. GSAT-24 separated confirmed. Everything looks great.
Important. And why are we waiting for a signal acquisition?
Yeah, so the satellites, after separation, they need some time to switch on their systems, to start deploying their solar panels. And once they do that, they will, let's say, call home. So they will establish a contact with their ground stations to confirm that the satellites are in good health. So
okay. But what will the satellites do after contact has been established with the station?
Well, they will begin a series of tests and maneuvers that will take a few days to turn on all the systems, to check that all the systems are functioning correctly. And yes, basically that's what will happen.
And then what happens? How do they reach their final orbit?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, they will use their own engine, their own propulsion system to accelerate once when they're at the apogee of the orbit in order to transfer to the final geostationary position.
Well, let me remind you all that this second satellite, GSAT-24, was built by the Indian Space Agency, ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, for NSIL, and will provide the Indian subcontinent with high-quality telecommunication and direct broadcast satellite services. You have something to add?
Yes, for us, Arianespace, we are proud to say that it is the 25th Indian satellite that we launch.
Well, David, you've been lucky enough to go inside the Jupiter room many a time, I think, and in the CDL-3 many times. How would you describe the ambience, the atmosphere here at this stage of the mission? It must be electric.
Yes, so having released the satellites at this point, there is a feeling of relief, a feeling of mission accomplished. But of course, everyone is eagerly waiting for the last confirmation from the customer that the signal has been acquired, which confirms the definite success of the mission.
So I hope we'll have the opportunity to be there. It's now more than 40 minutes since Ariane 5 took off from the European Space Center in Kourou. Let's take another look at some incredible images of tonight's liftoff. Let's have a look at this replay. It's always an incredible moment, and the launch we've been attending today was...
We witnessed today was incredible.
We witnessed today, yeah. It was incredible. Those are the images we saw. It was not dark night.
No, yes, it was sunset. I was lucky myself to see one of these launches once, a sunset launch.
Just wow. And we didn't see this thing in the live stream. I just don't understand why did they do that, but yep, apparently everything went as per the plan, and right now it is in the orbit. Both the satellites are in the orbit.
Amazing view, an amazing sight, and I was able to see, like today, all the flight up to booster separation. So it was really, really amazing. I had tears in my eyes.
Wow.
Is it always special? It is always the same? It's different one launch from the others?
Unfortunately, I have only seen once this launch from outside. Usually the other launches I have been inside the control room, but yes, it definitely depends on the conditions, the atmospheric conditions and the weather, yes.
Acquisition GSAT par les stations.
So we hear the DDO, and at the same time we're watching all those images we had.
Yes, so we had the confirmation from the DDO that GSAT-24 has been acquired by its ground stations.
Okay.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
This is really, really good news for all the teams working so hard on this campaign.
So, David, you've participated in many launch preparation campaigns. Apart from takeoff, what for you is the best moment of a mission?
Yeah, so during these launch preparation campaigns that last several weeks, after these intense moments of the countdown and the launch, the best moments, of course, are after the release of the passengers once the mission has been accomplished. it's a big moment with all the launcher teams, and after these weeks of intense work that is not always easy, so it's definitely seeing everybody happy is a great satisfaction.
Well, we certainly saw everyone happy tonight.
Yes, and also with the customers, seeing the customers after the launch and seeing how their satisfaction and gratitude, it's definitely a great moment. Well,
let me remind you that later on tonight we will have the pleasure of talking to Arianespace's customers. We'll be linking up with Mr. Radhakrishnan Duraraj, Chairman and Managing Director of NSIL, and also with Mr. Sankaran Muthusamy, Director UR Satellite Center at ISRO.
Yes, Emma, and we are currently waiting for the MEASAT 3D acquisition that should happen in the next 5 minutes. Then we have an interview with François Gaulier, who is Senior Vice President Telecommunication and Navigation System at Airbus.
Well, the 2 satellites that were on board the launcher tonight have already been placed into geostationary orbit. But as you know, we are now waiting for the signal acquisition. This will happen in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, I suggest we answer some more questions from our audience. Let's see. I have a question from Alexia.
We should have a question. Yeah, we have a question from
Alexia about the heavy launch vehicle Ariane 5. Now, what does she ask? Who gets to push the liftoff button of Ariane 5? No, it's not
me.
you.
It's me.
It's not
I do.
Yeah, so in fact, nobody does. As I mentioned before, once we get to the end of the countdown, it's Ariane 5 itself, it's its onboard computer, to be precise, who decides to lift off, to ignite the main engine and to ignite the boosters once it has checked that everything is ready and that it will fulfill its mission.
Well, in our spacework report tonight, we interviewed a young female CVI. She's called Justine, 26-year-old, works as a mission analysis engineer. It is isn't it quite unusual to have a woman working in the space industry? What is the gender parity? What is the male to female ratio in this sector?
No, we have, in fact, we have many women working at Arianespace and at the Guiana Space Center in general. Unfortunately, there are less women than men for the time being, as with many other technical and engineering activities. But okay, even if there is still some way to go, the percentage of women is definitely increasing.
So what are the types of jobs that women generally hold, David?
I have seen women really in every position. There are women assembling the launcher, there are women performing the test, doing the engineering analysis, managing the activities, or being senior experts on very difficult technical fields. So really everything is possible.
So,
well, I have a question, because you have questions, and I have a question, because I'm more focusing on environment.
Less on women.
No, I'm focusing on everything, but I like environment. Don't confuse me, please. We've been talking about that subject once before on Road to Space. The area around the launch pad is a wild environment. And that's incredible because we cannot figure out, but you can see wildlife and some CCTV camera security camera catching images. What kind of animals?
Yes, the launch base is right in the middle of an area with plenty of wildlife. So the security cameras often see interesting visitors. Recently, there was a family of jaguars that was seen very close to the launch pad where Ariane 5 took off today. So, in fact, there are many unique wild species inside the Space Center, and it is CNES who does a great job of monitoring all this wildlife and making sure they're secure, as well as the environment to guarantee that everything is safe.
And I have another question about the environment. How is it cleaned, the launch pad, after the ignition? Does it need to be cleaned? Is it watered? How does it work?
Yeah, the launch is, of course, there is it's a very harsh environment. There is a lot of hot temperatures, a lot of pressure, and therefore, yes, after the launch, there is a big inspection that is done of all the launch area, making sure that, okay, pieces have not been broken, or if there are things that need to be exchanged. And yes, everything is cleaned and let's
And from what I know, the water is recycled, and I mean, it's a really an important point.
Yes, the water that is used in particular to damp the sound during liftoff, it's water that is collected it's rainwater that is collected in a tower right next to the launch pad. And yes, this water is
Okay, we should definitely make a report about that part, because it's, you know, I like those little stories behind the big stories. Everybody's focusing on the rocket, but we have many things. Oh, why everybody is clapping?
Yes, we had the confirmation from MEASAT.
MEASAT acquisition.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Well, so that's a really good news. We're watching.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Everybody. Well done, David. Well done to their teams. This is going to be a moment when I think we'll be going back to Kourou.
Definitely, because it's we're just letting them have.
There you go, guys. Everything is now fully successful. Taking off hands suggest. Yep. Things went as per the plan.
Yeah, a lot of people, but firstly we'll have a communication with Stéphane Israël.
So we can.
He's ready. He's probably shaking hands, and we will be
He must be
discussing
very,
with
very
him.
happy.
Yeah, and we see all the teams. Okay, Stéphane, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you very well, yes.
Hello, so it's a good news. Everything went perfectly tonight.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, it was a perfect launch tonight. Yes, it was a perfect launch tonight, and it's very important for us because it is the 4th time we deliver for MEASAT. It is the 25th time we deliver for India, ISRO, and for the first time NSIL. There was also an auxiliary payload embarked for Korea on the MEASAT satellite. So tonight we have done the job, and we are very honored to have delivered.
And so I'm sorry because you are focusing on tonight, but what's next?
So I want first to thank all our customer partners for this launch, because it's really a collective success. It's led by Arianespace, but with all the European launcher family, CNES, ESA, Ariane Group for sure, our prime contractor. So thanks to all of our partners, thanks to our customers. So what next? We will have in July the maiden flight of Vega C. It will be a very important event. And we will come back to the Guiana Space Center on September the 6th for a key customer, Eutelsat, the satellite Connect on board of Ariane 5.
And we will be definitely with you in September for this launch. Thank you very much, Stéphane.
Thank you, Stéphane.
And have a nice day over there in Guiana, in French Guiana.
Well, that was great to hear Stéphane Israël's reaction after the completion of the mission. You, like him, David, must be feeling quite proud tonight. It's quite an achievement.
Yes, it's always a great satisfaction when we reach this moment when the satellites have been handed over to the customer in space. So congratulations to everyone, yes.
Well, I think it's now time to meet up with some other very special guests. Mr. Radhakrishnan Duraraj, Chairman and Managing Director from New Space India Limited, and Mr. Sankaran Muthusamy, Director of UR-RAO Satellite Center from ISRO. I think they might be ready for us in a minute. We should be joining up with Gregory in the VIP area of the Jupiter room with our two special guests. Gregory, are you there?
I'm sure Gregory is there.
We saw him earlier.
We saw him earlier, and
he must be busily shaking hands as well.
Yeah, or maybe trying to grab the people.
Exactly.
Themselves shaking hands. So, well, so that's a special moment. Everybody was tensed. Everybody was stressed. Now everybody is enjoying, and we see Gregory.
Good evening, Gregory.
Gregory, good evening.
You're with our two special guests.
We have a little problem,
Gregory. We can't hear you.
Give us a second. We don't hear you, Gregory. So.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we can hear you now. Sorry.
Okay, great. So you can hear me, Baptiste and Emma, and I would like to thank you very much. We are here back in Kourou, and I'm here with two representatives of the teams who have designed, manufactured, and soon will be operating now GSAT-24, and coming soon the other teams from the MEASAT satellites operations. Next to me is Mr. Radhakrishnan, representing NSIL, the operator of GSAT-24. So I think this satellite means actually a lot to your organization. Could you explain us why it is so important, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think, first of all, New Space India Limited is extremely excited to see our first demand-driven communication satellite built by Indian Space Research Organization. Built and successfully launched. Would like to also congratulate and thank Arianespace for giving us such a beautiful orbit. This particular satellite is going to meet the direct-to-home telecommunication needs of India. So it's all the more significant for us because in the coming days we are going to have many more operations related to the satellites. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. I think you have many plans for the future. Could you let us know more about the future for NSIL?
Yeah. Now, New Space India Limited, after the space reforms announced by Government of India, has been mandated to do missions on a demand-driven mission. So GSAT-24, the launch, what we saw just now, is one of the many missions that we plan to undertake in the coming years. We have a couple of communication satellites that needs to be launched in the next 1 or 2 years. So we are eagerly looking forward to build our assets in the space and provide all the communication needs of the country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this very interesting insight. And next to you, we have Mr. Sankaran, welcome back, representing the Indian Space Agency, ISRO, whose teams have designed and built GSAT-24. So, Mr. Sankaran, this was actually the 25th launch made by Arianespace for India, I think. So what does it represent to you?
It represents the cooperation between two of the greatest nations in the world, India and France. We have been cooperating not only in the spacecraft building and launching the spacecraft, but in several areas, including science, technology, engineering, defense equipment, procurement. You say it, you have a number of areas where we are supporting each other and helping us to move forward. So this is a very, very exciting 25th satellite, and this happening on the 50th anniversary of our center, the URF Satellite Center, is an added benefit. And this is also the 75th anniversary of Indian independence, which is being celebrated throughout India. This is nothing more can be better than this as a celebration for Indian scientific people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you too, and again, congratulations on this successful launch. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
With you, Gregory, in Kourou to hear two other special guests, Dongjung Kim, Director General for Airports and Air Navigation Facilities Policy in Korea, and François Gollier, Senior Vice President Telecommunications and Navigation Systems at Airbus. They are waiting for us. And so we go back to you, Gregory.
Yes, thank you very much, Baptiste. Actually, I'm here now with François Gollier, as you mentioned. François is part of the successful MEASAT 3D team tonight, and he's a representative from the satellite manufacturer, Airbus Defence and Space. So, François, your company manufactured the satellite MEASAT 3D, sorry. How long have you been working on this project? Can you explain us?
So it's true, we have been through all the milestones in the beginning, very successfully, one by one. And I really want to be grateful to all the teams, our teams, and as well the customers, to be able to deliver and to be on time tonight for the launch. Being through this COVID period, it has been a real challenge, and having this successful progress of the program until today was a real success. So thanks to all for that.
Thank you very much. And let us know, this was not the first time Airbus Defence and Space was working on a MEASAT satellite, right?
Absolutely. This is the second one. So we have done MEASAT 3B. It was in 2014 for the launch. Today it's a new satellite, and we are extremely happy to see this new capacity brought to Malaysia, bringing to connected and unconnected people this additional capacity for safe connectivity in Malaysia. So it's a good,
Thank you very much.
Good thing.
And final question, as to be very fair with people who are watching us, who are looking for Mr. Kim to talk about this hosted payload that was on MEASAT 3D, but you were involved in the project. So can you tell us a bit more about this hosted payload, as we call it, onboarded on MEASAT 3D for Korea.
It's a very innovative payload that we call CAS for Korean Augmented Satellite Service that will bring for KTSat, and by the way, for also we are there today, the Space Agency for Korea, the KARI, and for the MOLIT, some augmented capacity, accuracy for navigations in Korea, and it will help a lot for air traffic management, for instance.
Thank you very much for this explanation, François, and congratulations again on the successful launch.
Thank you, and back
to you, Paris.
Thank you, Gregory. And I'm sorry, but since you're doing the job well, we stay with you, and you will present us two other guests. The time you can grab them in the Jupiter room, and you have two more people to present us for the interview.
Here they are.
Yeah, here they are.
Just come here, Mr. Yao.
So yes, Gregory, you can start.
Yes,
we're waiting for you.
Yes, here we are back in Kourou with the successful Malaysian team from MEASAT 3D. So let me please introduce you, and we are very honored to have you with us tonight, sir. Mr. Dato Sri Haji Mohammed bin Mettek, the Secretary General, Ministry of Communications and Multimedia of Malaysia. So good evening, sir.
Good evening, thank you.
You are here with Mr. Yao, Chief Operating Officer with MEASAT. Let me just ask you this simple question. How was the launch for you tonight?
Okay, first of all, congratulations to MEASAT on the successful launch of MEASAT 3D. With the addition of this cutting-edge satellite, Malaysia will be able to enjoy better connectivity, especially in the remote areas. This will improve coverage, which help the nation achieve our goal to closing the digital connectivity gap between Malaysians in rural areas and also in the suburban area. So once again, I would like to congratulate MEASAT for the successful launching of MEASAT 3D today. So congratulations once again to MEASAT.
Thank you very much again, sir. This was another awesome Ariane 5 launch tonight, and I think we can fairly assess that all our guests appreciated it here. So now we are back to you, Emma and Baptiste, and see you next time in Kourou for another successful launch.
Thank you, Gregory. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Well, thank you, David. Congratulations is in order to everyone at Arianespace, Ariane Group, European Space Agency, and the CNES for making this launch happen. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you to you.
You must be really relieved.
Yes, relieved and happy.
Good.
Okay, and Road to Space will be back for the next launch with more exclusive and exciting contents. We hope you had a good night with us. We had a really good night.
With you.
And in the coming days, this is something we always say to conclude. If you look, or if some of your friends look up in the stars, remember, we are building the future over there.
Okay, so guys, there you go. We saw this beautiful rocket lifted off. Although we did not get to see much of the live views of the rocket, but at the end of the day, you want at least your rocket to perform well and do its job, and it did it perfectly. This is a very reliable rocket, Ariane 5, and if you need to have this rocket is the one which launched JWST, so you can't doubt its reliability. But there you have it, guys. Today you just saw a beautiful liftoff of the Ariane 5 carrying the GSAT-24 and MEASAT 3D satellite to geosynchronous transfer orbit. The mission is accomplished successfully, and right now the satellites are on their way to circularized from the GTO to geostationary orbit and do their job. So yep, that's it for today. It's already 4:30 here in India, and I think I should be sleeping. So we'll meet you soon tomorrow, I guess. Yep, tomorrow we have a sounding rocket launch, which was supposed to happen today, but due to some technical glitch, it has been shifted to tomorrow. So I'll be there with you. And capstone mission is coming in from the rocket lab. So that is very much interesting, because that means Rocket Lab is sending something to the moon, and obviously that is great. So thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And yeah, until then, this is Pian Shiroila. You just saw Rocket Gun. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye-bye.